Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today we're tackling something that literally flips standard DIY solar design right on its head. If you've ever looked into sizing a solar system, you've almost certainly bumped into the industry's most common, but honestly, kind of misleading metric. I'm talking about the average sun hour. Relying on this simple average? Well, it could actually set your off-grid system up for total failure right when you need it most. Let's get into it. So, what does 5 peak sun hours actually mean? We hear this standard marketing phrase all the time, right? Oh, your location gets 5 peak sun hours a day. But what does that actually look like if you walk outside with a live clamp meter and hook it up to a real working array? Does the sun just click on at 100% maximum power for 5 straight hours, and then boom, just shut off? Obviously not.
The true definition of a peak sun hour is actually highly specific. It's the equivalent of exactly 1 hour at 1,000 watts per square meter of irradiance. Now, I want to emphasize that this is a strict laboratory test condition. It's purely an energy equivalent used to rate panels in a perfectly controlled environment. It is absolutely not a guarantee of literal, continuous hours of perfect sunshine hitting your roof out in the wild.
Section 2. The peak sun myth versus real-world volatility.
We really need to step away from the comfortable mouth here. Theoretical averages give us these perfectly smooth, predictable numbers, the kind you'd pull straight from a sleek online solar map. But actual yield? Well, when you measure a live system, you see incredibly unstable, rapidly fluctuating current readings. The sun angle is shallow in the morning, spikes at midday, and then falls off again. Real solar yield is just constantly moving.
And listen, even when the sun is shining brightly, your panels are fighting a constant uphill battle against hidden system efficiency losses. Basic solar formulas often just gloss over these entirely. We're talking about temperature loss, inverter loss, wiring resistance, conversion loss inside your MPPT controller. Heck, even a simple layer of dust can knock your numbers down. Because of all this, real-world panels almost never hit the pristine wattage stamped on the back of the box.
Now, there is a huge trap that so many beginners fall into. That tiny 10-minute power spike right at high noon might look incredibly impressive when you're showing off your phone's monitoring app to your friends. But here's the harsh reality. It's just a tiny fraction of the whole day. It absolutely does not represent your system's continuous, daily production capability.
Let's look at the raw physics behind this extreme volatility. P equals V times I. Power equals voltage multiplied by current. Why does this matter? Well, your MPPT controller actually does a fantastic job keeping the array voltage relatively stable, as it hunts for that optimal operating point. But the current? That is a whole different story. The current is incredibly sensitive to changing irradiance. Just a tiny drop in current from some passing weather will drastically swing your total wattage right off a cliff.
Imagine you're standing outside watching a live clamp meter with me. Picture the fast-paced life cycle of a passing cloud. First, as that cloud approaches, its edge actually acts almost like a mirror, creating a sudden reflection spike. Your current momentarily shoots way up. But then, boom, the dark shadow hits. You suffer a massive irradiance drop. The MPPT controller desperately scrambles in a complete panic to adjust its tracking, and you experience a rapid, severe power loss. And all of this happens in just a matter of seconds.
Now here's a phenomenon that completely catches most people off guard. Heat derating. You'd naturally assume that the hottest, brightest part of midday would guarantee absolute maximum power, right? Well, the laws of physics disagree. As solar panels physically heat up under that intense baking sun, their voltage actually drops. That means strong sunlight alone doesn't guarantee maximum power output. In fact, sometimes a crisp, cool morning will completely outperform a scorching hot noon.
Section 3. Why averages drain batteries.
These physical fluctuations have severe, real-world consequences for your off-grid battery bank. The absolutely crucial point is this. Batteries do not care about averages. Batteries respond to real-time energy deficits. I really want you to lock that in. Imagine the sheer panic of watching a heavy-duty coffee maker quickly drain your battery bank just because a thick cloud rolled by. If your home is consuming power continuously, but your solar production suddenly collapses, who makes up that difference? The battery bank. It instantly absorbs that entire deficit, regardless of what your spreadsheet's average says.
And when a multi-day deficit or a solid week of rain hits a system that was optimistically sized strictly on those average sun hours, man, the cascading failures begin. We're talking chronic battery depletion, sudden low-voltage inverter shutdowns, and having to massively rely on a loud, expensive backup generator. Worse than that, it causes deep cycling thermal stress on your components. Your very expensive lithium iron phosphate batteries might even trigger emergency low-voltage BMS disconnects just to keep themselves alive. Think about the massive gap between peak summer generation and seasonal trough production. If you rely on a yearly average to size your whole system, you're essentially just drawing a line right through the middle of the year. But during a dark winter month or a heavy rainy season, your actual production is nowhere near that average line. Relying on a yearly average is incredibly risky because it completely masks the very real danger of those deep seasonal lows.
Section 4. Designing for the worst. So, how do we actually design a system that survives all this? Well, here's the core philosophy you really need to take away from this explainer. Reliable solar design is about designing for bad days, not perfect days. This is exactly why experienced solar installers purposely overpanel their systems. They aren't just blindly wasting money on extra panels. They're building a vital, life-saving buffer specifically designed to survive prolonged cloud cover, thick smoke haze, and those deep seasonal deficits we just talked about.
Section 5. Live DC Testing Safety.
Before we finish up today, we have to talk about some critical safety gaps regarding live DC testing that so many other resources just completely miss. Never, ever disconnect MC4 connectors while the system is under a heavy load. Pulling a live connection apart creates extreme physical danger. You see, unlike AC power, which crosses 0 volts and naturally breaks an electrical arc, DC arcs do not self-extinguish easily. Not at all. If you pull them apart, they will pull a massive, incredibly hot spark that can cause severe burns or instantly start a fire.
So, let's walk through exactly how to handle this correctly. It's a strict step-by-step procedure, and it's required for safely isolating strings. Step 1, isolate the circuits properly. Step 2, always use true DC-rated breakers to kill the load before you even think about touching the wires. Step 3, wear proper insulated gloves. And Step 4, absolutely always verify your polarity before making any reconnections to prevent totally frying your equipment.
And a quick but vital reminder here. High-voltage solar strings can remain fully energized whenever any light is hitting the panels. Even during those dark, gloomy, cloudy trough conditions we've been talking about, dangerous high voltage may still exist in the lines. Constant vigilance is absolutely required anytime you are working around a solar array.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on. What is the lowest real-world solar production you have measured during heavy cloud cover or a stormy, rainy season? I challenge you to look past those idealized, perfect marketing averages. Get your hands on a meter, check your own real-world data, and use it to design more resilient and ultimately safer off-grid systems. Thanks so much for exploring the reality behind the numbers with me today.